I am not comfortable here. Hi, welcome back. Today has been a very sad day. I fell from my chair and I broke my computer, which I think I'm still in shock because I haven't cried, and I cry at everything these days. It has been a very stressful time for me, academically wise, also, people in general. I thought, what better way to cheer me up than to read the sad book girlies pics from TikTok? So that's what I'm going to do for the next week, I think.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
So first up, I bought this the other day. I found it in the English side of my town library, which was very cool, very cool. It's Nightbitch by Rachel Yonder. The protagonist is a young mother. She is left to fend for herself in her new world where she puts her career on hold for her son, and her husband is never home, and she starts to transform into, as it says from the title, into a bitch, into a dog. I don't know if it's a dog or a wolf. It sounds insane, it sounds weird and powerful, and I love this kind of books. The weirder the better for me. Then I am in the middle of another book because I have read Sirens and Muses, the best book I've read so far this year. It was so good, so poignant, so well written, and so funny at times. I loved it. It's a sapphic story. It's set in the art world. It's set in New York. It's fantastic. I love it so much. So I picked up, I don't know if you can see it, but it's The World Cannot Give by Tara Isabella Burton. This is a proper dark academia. The protagonist is obsessed with this writer that published a book at 19 and that was so well written, beautiful, etc., etc. He finds God and his world is historical, whatever that means. And then he goes on to fight in a war for Franco. So if you don't know, for the fascists. And so she goes to his college where he studied, and she gets enamored by the choir, and she starts singing, and it's all like a little bit of a cult. Unfortunately, I'm on part 2, and this is not well written. There are very beautiful phrases, but the structure of the story is not there. But I want to go to the end to understand how is it going to end, because there's not much of a plot here, and I think it's going to be a sapphic story also. And then I have an audiobook. So I have a physical book, a ebook, and an audiobook. So it's all the senses. I've got Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. I don't know anything about this book. Aside from that, it's weird, it's shocking, and kind of grotesque. This is what they told me. But they also told me this about We Have to Remove This Post, which was such a letdown, disappointment, not grotesque at all, not shocking, and I believe my accent is going all over the place. The beauty of not speaking English as a first language. I've got no accent, basically. I hope that Earthlings is going to be better, because I read Convenience Store Woman and I liked it just fine. It was not amazing, world-shattering, but I liked it. You're going to follow me this week while I finish The World Cannot Give, and then I'm going to choose between Nightbitch and Earthlings.
Usa.
Ano? What happened to the original plot of the novel? Hello? Never mind. Don't mind my frizzy wet hair. I just got out of the shower. But last night I finished, it's not even on the screen, but I finished through ebook and audiobook. I finished The Word Cannot Give. And just like the title, this book could not give. It was a disappointment. It was sold to me as a dark academia that dealt with the world choir, a little bit more of a a religious undertones, in which there is the chief, the captain of the choir in this very religious high school, and she starts almost like a cult inside the choir. But the character was like small and two-dimensional, and the big villain of the story was like, my moral conviction are flimsy as hell, and I can change my mind every chapter that it gets like through. And the protagonist is the only one that morally stays the same, which is very pliable, she's very malleable, and she has no problem being the secondary character. And then she gets this awakening in which she tells herself, no, I'm the protagonist of my own life. 5 sentences later, she's back to like, because she gets discovered by the cultish villain of the story, she undoes all of her character development again. So this was not dark academia with religious and choir undertones. This was Gossip Girl. And it sounds weird telling you like this, but it's high school drama at its peak. It's just like Gossip Girl without the aspect of Gossip Girl, but like the dramaticness is the same. It was also like a sapphic love story that was promised to me, and there is the sapphic aspect, but it's so boring. This book I think gets like 1.5 star, 2 star, possibly 2. I wasn't mad at this book, it was just so incredibly mismarketed and unfocused. The story was just so unfocused. I think it would work as a dramatic teen TV show, just like Gossip Girl. As a book, though, that wants to be taken seriously, because there are these beautiful and complicated phrases about transcendence and the beautiful choir music, but everything else is just dramatic teenagers. Yeah. So now, I don't know, I think I'm going to read Nightbitch because I'm going to a friend's goodbye party. She is moving away, and I have like a half an hour back and forth commute. So I think Nightbitch, but possibly Earthlings too, because if I get car sick, Earthlings is the way. So yeah, come with me. Hi, update. So, the reason you saw me taking Nightbitch out for the Regatta Storica here in Venice is because I am thinking of abandoning the audiobook for Earthlings. Because I said in this video that I want to feel something, I also, however, want to be happy in my life. It's tough. There's a lot in a book with a cover that it's supposed to be cute. And I thought it was going to be tough, but not as much as... It's just a lot. It's just a lot. It's described in graphic detail and very clinical. And no, it's just not. And thinking and not just doing it, because some people told me that when the protagonist gets older, it goes into this kind of psychedelic, psychological vision nightmare, and it's a lot easier to digest. I am already a woman in this world. It is just another act of violence for me towards myself to read books like this. So I started Nightbitch. This talks about another thing that I don't really like in literature, but I can stomach if the plot is interesting, which it is, which is motherhood lived as a very tough and broken thing. Because I know motherhood is tough. I don't actually know it firsthand, but I know it. This, however, is very depressing, and it's a very possibly real situation that I think a lot of women live and are living and lived. The thing is, I would have stopped reading this also, but the protagonist is just now turning into a wolf. And I didn't know, it's in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler, that the turning point of this book is actually a shady mommy MLM where all the mummies, it's not a mummy, it's mums, are like yummy mummies, but they're also like mythological creatures. It's just fucking amazing. I'm going to read this one and I'm going to update you on Earthlings. Hi, let's have a chat. So I finished Nightbitch and I don't have it with me for reasons that you're going to understand once I explain myself. I left it at the beach. We have a little cabin. And you might say, Alice, you had to talk about the book. Why did you leave it? Why did you leave it at a beach? It's because I don't care. You saw me in another clip saying that this book is boring. I, however, got to part 3, I think, the last part of the book, and I was mad. I was not bored, I was mad. So I did a little bit of research to talk eloquently about what I want to explain, and I consulted some professionals, aka my mother, who is a feminist, and she's a political science teacher. She teaches gender studies and feminist in the eye of the political. And so I talked to her and she was also enraged. Am I mad at Nightbitch? Nightbitch is a story about a woman squashed by patriarchal society, squashed by capitalistic society, squashed by the fact that she feels like motherhood ruined her life. It's a horrible experience for her. She's isolated, she's stressed, her husband is always away, he doesn't understand her. First of all, can we have one book about motherhood that it's not like motherhood is either the worst thing ever or the best, most transcendental experience of the world? This book brings forth very fair points, but it's almost as if it was written for men. Not just men, but American men. It's a very American book, and it was written to take you by the hand and step by step telling you all the little things that can happen in a woman's life when she has a baby, and telling you, see this, see that, that's not good. That's not good. And I felt like the author was thinking that I was very dumb. It was just bizarre how this book was targeted to women. And I get that if you have had a very sheltered life, this book might be like revolutionary for your ways of thinking. But for me personally, I thought that the author thought me a fool. But also, this book has a very veiled, but not so veiled message, especially in part 3, where in part 3, our protagonist starts to get like her liberation arc. She steps outside of her normal society and she truly succumbs or transforms into Nightbitch, which she adopts as her pseudonym. And the things that are said in that part, I'm mad. I'm mad because in this book, women are mothers. They're not women, they're not scientists, they are not writers, they don't really have a job. They have, but it's not something that defines them. It doesn't place in their life outside of, it takes from being a mother. Being a mother is this all-consuming thing, and it's seen as, it should be an all-consuming thing. It's everything that you are. And also, once you become a mother, you gain something more. Explicitly expressed in one of the emails that the protagonist writes for various reasons. I'm not going to spoil you, but she writes that, I'm going to leave you the passage here if I find it. If not, I'm sorry. But she says that the act of pushing a baby out of you is once the first true violence that a baby can give you. It's not, it's a biological act. Please don't see it as a violence. It's not violence, it's traumatic. It can be very traumatic. It's very hard on the body, but it's not violence. Violence is done with purpose, okay? I hate this way of thinking. It says that she, as a mother, is transcendent. She gains something that is over the top of the heads of the other women. And that her baby is a miracle, that he was born against all odds, which, no, he was just born. That through motherhood, she gained this transcendental, almost religious experience that no other women could get, which is not sad, like no other women could get. It's not sad, but it's implied. And it enrages me because I don't want to be a mother, but I'm not going to be any less of any other woman who chooses to have a kid. They just had a kid, which is hard, which is beautiful. It's not that I lack something. It's not that I have something more. Research I've done shows me, and my mother also told me, that it's a branch of feminism that fortunately got to Europe and died. It wasn't applicable here, and it wasn't applicable in the United States, but for some reason it's stuck. It's part of the diversive or divisive feminism. Now it's called like that, in which women thought that since society was made by men, they shouldn't partake in it. And so they stopped voting, they stopped buying products, they stopped rioting. They did almost nothing, and they tried to build another society outside, which is not the way to be if you don't vote. Like, it's insanity. And in this branch of feminism, there was a lot of talk of being a mother giving you value. It started as, if you're a mother, you have value as a woman, and now it's, if you're a mother, you're a woman for once, which is no. If you have a baby, if you're going through motherhood, you gain something that others don't have, which is mind-boggling. It's not true. I'm not going to lack anything if I don't choose to have a kid, you know? So I got mad. And also, it was messy. It was a messy book, and it was boring, and I think it should have been a short stories. And I also think it shouldn't have been a book at all, because the message is foul at times. And a lot of people praised it for the same reason that I am going to crucify it. I don't know which one is right. I think I have very valid and fair points, but you can tell me. End of my rant about Nightbitch. But let's do a wrap up, because it's the end of the week. Here's a wrap up. I read 2.5 books. I read The World Cannot Give. No, this was Gossip Girl. I was promised Dark Academia. This was not nor dark nor academia. It was just Gossip Girl without the Gossip Girl aspect, which is boring and dramatic for... Then I tried to read Earthlings. It was too much for me. This is not the case of the book being bad. It was just too much for me. It was such heavy and descriptive and clinical sexual abuse of minors, and I could not. I want to be happy. I choose to be happy in life, so no Earthlings. But it's nothing against Sayaka Murata. And then I read Nightbitch, which I despised. I'm going to write a flaming review on Goodreads, I think, and talk it about on my TikTok, which I'm going to link it down below if you want to see like an Italian review. So yeah, disappointing. I think I should stop listening to TikTok recommendations. So my socials are all down below if you want to see them. I'm most active on TikTok, but also, you know, Goodreads if you want to see my review. I have an Amazon wishlist, I think. It's just to keep track of things that I want to buy. And I'll see you next time with hopefully a happier reading week. Goodbye!